All right, everybody, welcome to another episode from Benchmark Studios. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm joined by a very special friend, Mr. Justin Manning, Regional President at Mid-Penn Bank. And full disclosure, Benchmark does business with Mid-Penn Bank. But Justin's taken an interest in the work that we do outside of our banking relationship. He's certainly supported our work, but we wanted him to come in today to tell a little bit of his story, and so we can track his leadership journey. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Nate Louvise, who's going to help us ask some good questions that'll get to the heart of some of Justin's stories. So, Justin, thanks for coming in and hanging with us. We're really grateful for your time today. You're a busy man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. Well, it's not every day that we get to talk to someone who has kind of climbed the ladder and is working their way up in the banking world. And I think for many of our students, the banking world seems like a foreign place. So I'm kind of curious if you could share with us about how you found this as a career, maybe some of the steps that led you to where you are today.
Yeah, I think initially it was more of a mistake than anything.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever goes to school and says, hey, yeah, I want to be a banker. You know what I mean? There are some people that think about it, but I don't know. When I was in high school and college, I kind of thought of bankers as, it's the teller or, some nerd that likes to count money, right?
Yeah. What's behind I guess all you ever see is what you go to your retail bank, you take cash out, you put money in.
Yeah, maybe you see the manager sitting in the corner, taking loan applications and things like that. But it's not something I necessarily strive towards in school. I really, I graduated from Manheim Central High School here in Lancaster County. And
so this is home, Lancaster County.
Yeah, this is, born and raised in Lancaster County. Which ends up actually being a benefit in the world that I'm in. But I'll talk more about that a little bit later. So graduated from high school, had no real path as to what I wanted to do. I think I was undecided in my major. My first year in college, I went to Indiana University of Pennsylvania, IUP.
Excellent. Yep, IUP.
State school, affordable.
Yep.
And far enough from my parents that they couldn't just pop in and say hi anytime.
Perfect.
It was just kind of like trying to figure out my path in life. And, I think I was a sociology major with a criminology concentration at one point.
Okay.
And kind of quickly, I enjoyed the studies, but I quickly found out that I was never going to make any money doing that.
It's tough.
Yeah. Look, it's a balance. It's a balance between doing what you like sometimes and being able to pay the bills.
Yes.
So for me, the paying the bills was pretty important, especially having a little bit of student debt coming out of school. So I switched my major to business. Turned out to be a really good choice. IUP's actually, at the time, was one of the only accredited business colleges in the state. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty serendipitous.
Did anyone in the family do business like that?
No. So my grandfather was probably the closest thing to what I do now. He was in sales. He was a chemical salesman for Lebanon Seaboard Lebanon Chemical. So he's sold fertilizer essentially to farmers.
It's big around here.
Yeah. He was pretty successful at what he did, but he was a self-made guy. Always a big mentor of mine. Not necessarily from the business standpoint, because I didn't even think about that kind of stuff back then. But just his take on life and his positive outlook on everything. Right. So anyhow, I'm getting a little sidetracked here, but so in college, changed the major to business, and then when I got out of school, I had the idea in my mind that. So I still wanted to do something that I loved, right? So I always loved cars. So I thought to myself, there's a local business here in Lancaster, the guy that basically buys and sells luxury and, exotic cars, right? And I saw his business and I was like, wow, I would really love to do that. And so that's kind of what I did. I took a concentration in entrepreneurship and was dead set on when I got out of school, I was going to open a business, an auto brokerage.
Very cool.
And so I decided I don't really know anything about the car business other than I like cars and I can talk about their engines and all that fun stuff. But so I went into the car business in sales for a little while, about a year and a half.
With that place here in the city?
No, it was actually, so my cousin worked for Jones Family Dealerships off of Manheim Pike. He got me a job in sales, and he still works there. He's doing great. But car sales was not for me. It was a grind. Like it was, you came in at 9 a.m., you stayed till 9 p.m. Yeah. It's like if you're not there, you're not selling cars, right? So.
Was that the dream though? That was the big dream? Like what
not
was
that part of it. The big dream was like I was going to open my own small dealership. Cars. Yeah, buy and sell sometimes you see stuff on, I think it's like the Speed Channel. There's a guy out there, I forget what his name is, but he does a lot of procuring for like Jay Leno. Yeah. So like these crazy car collectors, right? They spend lots of money to find and buy these cars. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, was sell the exotic stuff. Go out and find cars that people wanted specifically. Like, if Will came to me and said, hey, I want a 1989 Porsche 911, I could go find it for him with all the options that he wanted. And I thought, that'd be pretty cool. But, the car business was not for me. It was, it just ground me down. There was a lot of long days, long nights, eating horribly, like, pizza, cheesesteaks, like just a really poor diet.
Whatever you could get there. Like you just have to be able to eat and be on the job.
I think I put on 50 pounds.
And this is right out of college. You're in your early 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, for a young guy like that to be able to put on weight like that, you're eating pretty bad.
A ton of stress, too.
Yeah, a lot of stress because, you're not making much money. And I was good at it. I was good at sales, but the incremental reward was not worth the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, so to speak. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So that was like a turning point. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
How long did you do it before you started to hit that realization?
It was about like a year into it. I was like, this is terrible. I need to figure something out. So I went through like a whole slew of interviews with different, because of my only skills at that point where, I had a college degree, but like great, so many other people have that too. But my background was in sales. That's the only experience I had. So I went after these different sales jobs, and some of them, the interviews were pretty interesting. Yeah. Like the one I showed up and it was up in Harrisburg. I showed up and the guy's like, all right, we're just about getting ready to get going. Do you have comfortable shoes on? And I look down and I'm wearing like Oxford dress shoes. And I'm in a suit and I was like, oh, I don't really know what's going on. And so we hop in a car and we end up driving to Gettysburg. And along the way, they're telling me, they're like, yeah, we do door-to-door sales. Oh, geez. I was like,
they want you to get out and hoof it and start walking.
Yeah, so like we park in a neighborhood and we just start walking around the neighborhood. And you're going around and you're selling, at the time, it was those like coupon books. Yeah, it was awful.
So the interview was you going out and
making some sales.
Yeah, making some sales, watching what they did. And it was horrible because I was trapped. I was
in Gettysburg.
They drove, so I,
that's
but
wild.
I was so mad because like
blindside.
They blindsided me. So we get back in the car and we drive back to Harrisburg and like they're like, hey, why don't you come in? We'll do a debrief. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go, put my jacket in the car. I got in the car and left.
Got out of there. Yep, definitely.
This is awful.
So you were thinking that sales was going to be the future because it was your skill set, but none of those jobs actually felt right.
No, none of them felt right. So after I talked a lot with my parents and my grandfather, he gave me a lot of guidance. But then it was actually my grandmother on my mother's side that she had worked in banking her entire life essentially, and she wasn't rich by any means, but she did well for herself and she was comfortable and she retired comfortably. And she said, why don't you look into banking? Like, if you keep your nose clean and you do a good job, they promote fast. And I was like, all right, give it a shot. So I found an opening with at the time it was PNC Bank in Hershey, and it was for financial sales associate or whatever it was. And I didn't know that it was in one of those banks inside the grocery store. Oh, jeez. So it's like.
Oh, you started from like the bottom.
Oh, the bottom.
Yeah, you worked your way. Yeah. You deserve this seat.
Wow. I like to think so, but I think a lot of it has to do with that positive mental outlook too,
Right.
because no matter how bad things can get, like
Right.
there's always light at the end of the tunnel if you work hard enough and you do the right things. But
So you said yep, and they're like, great, we'll see you at the grocery store tomorrow morning.
well, so during the interview they told me like what it was all about, and it didn't sound all that unappealing, like compared to some of the stuff that I was doing before, and like the car sales. I was like, yeah, I want to give it a shot.
Yep.
So I took the job. Ended up, I think I worked in that branch for a year, and that was in Hershey. Then I transferred to the one to be closer to home, where I lived in Lidditz at the time.
Okay.
And then from that point, I found an opening in a traditional bank branch. I ended up being a supervisor.
Okay.
Um,
Different bank.
Same bank.
Same bank.
Same bank.
PNC.
Yeah. So I was with PNC for about 15 years.
Long time.
Yeah, in the banking world, that's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a very transitory business, but it speaks volumes, in my opinion, not only for the banker but also the organization if they're able to retain somebody that
keep
long.
it. Yeah. Keep it
Yeah.
there.
So I'm not putting marketing out there for my former
No.
employer.
No.
but-
Understood. Understood.
So yeah, did the traditional branch thing, and always knew that I wanted more out of my career. So I just kept my eyes open for opportunities, and I saw an opening for a position it's called treasury management. So that's more on, like, when you look at commercial banking, you typically have the loans and lending side of things, and then there's the depository, like not just deposit accounts, but like the ACHs and the wires and all the stuff that you don't really think of from a banking perspective. So I applied for that. I think it was like an administrative assistant role, but I was willing to do anything I could to get my foot in the door with that part of the bank.
So for anyone who's listening who doesn't understand, now we're talking about we know the bank as the branch that we go to, but what you're talking about is getting your foot in the door with that next level of the bank.
Yeah, the stuff that it's like you don't know what you don't know until you experience.
This is like the inner workings, the gears of the bank's business.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny because you think about the bank and the retail side of things, which is the most visible, but it's also the part of the banks that typically make the least money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the retail, meaning the branch that we go into and we transact because we are retail customers. You're talking about the commercial side then. That is where the banks make money.
Yeah, that's typically commercial loans, commercial account activity, those types of things. The services and products that businesses, manufacturers, not-for-profits purchase from us or transact through our accounts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I got that interview. Interview itself went well. Didn't get the job, so went back, continued to do my
They
job.
give you feedback, or they just said?
Yeah, they gave
No,
me some
Justin.
feedback. I mean, they felt that I wasn't qualified for the role because I just didn't have knowledge of that side of the business, which made sense. So I did my best to educate myself on that part of the company and how they do things.
How'd you educate yourself though? Like you just
Research. So
your
the
own.
stuff, the stuff that was at my fingertips inside the organization.
Yeah.
So like I had access. I didn't know it, but like I had access through like our intraweb to everything, all the products and everything that they sold. I talked to some of the business bankers at the time who interacted with that side of the business and just got as much knowledge as I could. Same position came open, different role, but basically the same position, different place. Applied for it, interviewed with the same people.
Okay.
Didn't get it again, but they did say they're like, I don't know what made them think I was overqualified at that point for the role, but
Not qualified to. Now
yeah,
you're
so I think they were
overqualified.
really just looking for. They had some folks in mind, and I think they just earmarked it, and they threw the opening out there, and they have to take the interviews.
Yeah.
Right? So the guy that was actually the not the hiring manager, but he oversaw the entire group for Central Pennsylvania for PNC Bank at that time. He was in on the interviews, and I don't know, he saw something in me, but he reached out to me after that interview, and he said, "Hey," he said, "the bank's got this management training program. You'll come in you'll learn the banking industry from soup to nuts. He's like, you already have the retail side of it down, and we're not going to teach you that anyway.
Yep.
So you're going to learn the commercial bank from bottom to the top. And he said the only thing you got to go out to Pittsburgh, you got to interview with about a panel of 10 executives, and if you get in, you get in, and if not, you don't. So I jumped at the opportunity. I was like, this is like once
I'm doing it.
Went out to Pittsburgh, did the interviews.
Did you need his recommendation?
I did need his recommendation.
Okay, so he spotted you going after it in these interviews.
Yeah.
Gave you the recommendation. You're out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so he actually came out to Pittsburgh with me. So we had a nice drive, 4.5 hour drive to get to know each other a little bit better and talk about what to expect. And went out there, did the interviews, and they all went really well. There was one guy out of the 10 that didn't want to hire me, and luckily, the other 9 did. So
10's pretty good.
Yeah, so I got in, and the next 2 years of my life there were like just spent learning, which was awesome.
Out there.
It was a mix. So I did my on-the-job stuff here, supporting like the group.
Yep.
And then I would travel out to Pittsburgh, typically for 2 to 4 week chunks, and they would put me in corporate housing out there, where I would learn, all the different products. I learned about capital markets and like yield curve analytics, all the stuff that like ended up like coming together and making me good at what I do.
Uh-huh. You didn't have any background in it though. Like it's all new stuff.
I mean, you learn that stuff. You learn the basics of that stuff in finance and accounting and things like that in college, but it's never that deep, and it's never like real world application.
Okay, so you don't need to love math.
No, as a matter of fact, I was never a good math student. Like, and my dad laughs to this day. He's like, I cannot believe you work with numbers all the time. He's like, you were awful at math.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's encouraging.
Yeah. So
right.
I'm not bad at math now,
Yeah.
but there's also a lot of tools that I can use to help me.
You have practical math skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So
How long was the program?
So it was a 2-year program, 2-year training program, mix of on the job and in classroom. Yeah. The longest stretch I did in classroom, I think, was 6 weeks of commercial credit training.
Whew.
Yeah. So that was intense, but yeah. What I didn't know was they're like kind of like measuring everybody throughout the class. And
So you were with a cohort of people.
yeah, it was what they called us classes. So I was a class of, I think it was like 2009 or something like that. And yeah, they rate you. Which
So
I
you were
didn't
competing
know.
against everyone that you were in there with.
Yeah, essentially. I had no idea. But I came back and my boss was like, he's like, I'm proud of you. He's like, you did really well in comparison with your peers. And I was like, awesome.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like,
So those other peers, they didn't score well. They're out of the program.
well, it's not that they didn't score well. It's just that, I scored
Better.
better. Yeah, yeah. But I think
better.
a lot of it has to do with, and I tell like my team this all the time. I'm like, you if you haven't worked for the role that you're in, like if you haven't seen the other side of things, kind of like your experience with where you came from,
Right.
Like if you hadn't seen all that stuff, would you be the man that you are today?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So yeah, it's just like that for me. It was like I saw the opposite side of the coin. When I first started my career, we were poor. Like I didn't make much money,
Right.
and so I was like, I don't ever want to be poor again. So
I also think like when you talked about your grandfather being that big mentor in your life and stuff like that, telling your story, you're real ambitious. Like you were gonna figure it out regardless.
I think so. I didn't know it at the time, but
Yeah, but like like them saying like you're not qualified, you don't know nothing about this, and then going back to work, talking to people that you need to talk to, finding the information that you need to find, and then going back and then they're saying like you're overqualified, right? And then getting the opportunity from the guy from PNC to go down to Pittsburgh for 2 years and go to this class, not knowing that you're competing with other people, but you're literally just outworking everyone because that's just who you are.
yeah, that's a good synopsis. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most people would just get interview 2. Like, I can't figure the system out. I'm leaving banking. Like, I don't have a fair shot here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you why I didn't give up, but I didn't. and I'm glad I didn't.
Right.
So,
One other thing that you said in your journey that is important for some of our students to hear is that you stuck with the job that you didn't love for a whole year. Like you
Yeah.
waited. That most people would never give a job
I was out.
they don't like.
First paycheck.
Yeah, but to be doing car sales and know you don't like it and know it's not right for you, know it's not your future, but to stick it out for a year is unique today.
yeah, I would say maybe not quite as unique as it is today back then, but for me it was like I didn't really have a choice because I was already out of my parents' house.
You needed to make money.
Yeah, I needed to make money, pay rent, feed myself, that kind of stuff. And I didn't want. I mean, there's always like, oh, I guess I could go back to my parents, but I didn't want.
Yeah, you didn't want that. Okay, so you go through this, you come back, you score well, and then what happens?
So yeah, I mean, it was fortunate yet unfortunate, the circumstance. So I was after I finished all my in classroom training, I came back and was doing the on the job stuff. So supporting all the sales officers and my boss, the market manager, and then one of the guys that was a sales officer, he got early onset dementia and Alzheimer's. And so like he started, like his work started to slip, and eventually, the customers started to notice, and you can't really stay
Can't have
on
that.
after that.
Yeah.
So he retired. He retired early. I think he went out on disability, and I think it was for him it was the right time. Like he was enjoying life, and he still had some years where he wasn't
Right.
going to lose all of his faculties. But so I was on a trip actually in LA with my boss at the time. We were out there for business, and he took this call, stepped out of the room, and he came back in. He's like, I guess you're going to be they call them treasury management officers. They're sales officers. He's like, I guess you're a TMO now. And I was like, what do you mean? And he told me what happened. So
that was shoe in for you. You're in.
yeah, it was like, right place, right time. I hated that, that had to happen for the, with the other guy for me to get the opportunity. But,
He enjoyed it. He enjoyed it while he was there.
yeah.
And he's enjoying life. He got to enjoy life a little after.
Yeah. I learned
It's-
a lot from him too while he was there.
It's your time. Opportunity. You got the opportunity. You put in the preparation. You put the work in. It was your call, and it's your time now.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, obviously not for the other guy, but that was great for you. That was a great
Yeah, it was
opportunity
good,
for
good
you.
for me, bad for him.
Yeah.
So did you automatically know what you were doing? Like all right,
No.
great, I'm going.
I just think it's hilarious that like a lot of like throughout your story, a lot of situations that you were put in, you had no idea what was going on, but you were like, yeah, all right, cool, let's do it,
Let's
and
figure it
I'm gonna
out.
figure it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That speaks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was another one of those situations. Like he's like, you're a sales guy now, and basically, figured out he was there to like coach and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I found myself in an interesting situation because now I've got a goal like that the bank expects me to live up to. I'm supposed to generate X amount of dollars in revenue.
Yep.
And if you don't hit that, like they put you on performance improvement plan. And I found myself like halfway through the year, and I was in a hole in terms of revenue generation, and I was like close to the point where I couldn't come back.
Just couldn't. So you couldn't do the. It was a sales thing. You just couldn't get the sales that you needed to get.
So I think it boiled down to my personal style. So I had an idea in my head what I thought that role was supposed to be and how that person in that role was supposed to act.
Okay.
And so when I went in front of a customer, it was all business. And, in sales, like people want to do business with people they like, right?
So true.
So it's like, oh, who's this like guy from IBM coming in here, like in his black suit and like,
Let's get this done.
Yeah.
And then I'll be on my way.
yeah, exactly. So it didn't go well, and it wasn't until that point in time where I was in the hole, and I was like, oh man, like if I don't come back from this, like this might be the end of this chapter in my career.
Someone was coaching you. Did you get some?
Yeah, to a certain
Trying
extent.
to figure out how you figured out what you just explained.
Well, so I got some feedback from folks around me, like some of the people that I worked with, like I would go out on these sales calls with, and a lot of them were just like, be yourself. And I finally started being myself, and like it was crazy because like everything just started to happen. It's like people were buying stuff from me.
Interesting.
And
Just by being
You could go on a sales call or talk to whoever you need to talk to. You can sit there and talk about cars.
yeah, I mean, or
80%
like,
of the conversation is cars. We're
Yeah.
talking about 1989 911s, Porsches,
Yeah.
and then we just close the deal.
yeah, exactly.
That's
I mean,
wild.
it's a lot. So much of sales is like finding common ground between you and the person on the other side of the table. And, you know, for me, once I was able to figure that out and do it, like it was just like this whole world unlocked for me. That wasn't to say that that was like the be all and end all, because there were challenges further
Yeah.
on, but that was a pivotal moment in my career.
So back against the wall, you had to figure out how to generate this revenue, or that was going to be the end of that chapter, and you figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
by being himself.
Yeah. Just by,
Authenticity.
yeah.
Authenticity.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you think about it, and that's really all anybody wants from their relationships, right?
Especially with money, right?
Yeah,
I want you to be real with me. That's it.
yeah,
At the end of the
exactly.
day.
You don't have to wonder like, what's that guy thinking? Or, like, I wonder what he
Right.
does when he leaves here. Like,
Right.
It is a misconception worth noting that people think big sales, you got to have some big expertise. You got to know your product, of
you
course.
do, yeah,
But so much of it is what you're saying is just getting to know someone. They feel comfortable with you. They could do business with anyone.
Yeah.
They could find another bank, but they like and know and trust you.
yeah.
I like that
They
guy.
choose your bank. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy.
And so much of it too goes back to responsiveness too. Like, you know, part of it, I think, being genuine and transparent is like picking up the phone, like, or responding to somebody when they leave you a voicemail, like calling them back the same day.
Little things.
Yeah, emails, that kind of stuff.
So people don't do that, and you can do that by you can stand out by just doing
Oh
that.
my, it's such an easy thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an easy thing. Like,
Just following up with people.
yeah. Yeah, and like even if it's a tough message, they want a quick no before like you drag them through the mud for 2 or 3 weeks and tell them,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think we could do this.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Listen, those are skills that make it seem like this kind of sales, this kind of job is possible. If you're someone who doesn't have any background in it, but you can figure that.
Yeah.
You can figure that out. You can make it. Okay, so you're in that role. This is good. You're getting closer to. I would assume you were starting to feel more like, okay, this is what I was hoping for. This is awesome.
Yeah, it started to go really well then. Yeah, I hit a speed bump with. I was asked to speak in front of an accounting firm because the guy that normally, I guess, made these presentations wasn't able to make it, and excuse me. So I got they're like, hey, we need you to go up and talk to these people. I wasn't a big public speaker, like I wasn't, and I had this crazy anxiety, and it went horribly wrong.
What you gotta tell us what happened?
Yeah, I just got up in front of the people, and like
What were you supposed to tell them?
so we're supposed to talk about. So we provided lunch to this CPA firm during tax season. So it's like
They're busy.
yeah, you're supposed to generate, keep the bank top of mind when they're coming across situations for their clients. So we would do a presentation on, in my case, it would have been treasury management.
Okay.
Here's what we do. Here's why it matters to your customers, and here's why you should refer us. Right. I had physical anxiety symptoms, like to the point where I couldn't breathe. I got my stomach, and like it was visibly like bad. Yeah. So
No one was there to help you. You're just
well, so there was some of my coworkers were there, but they were more or less like watching me fail.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think many of us have moments like that. So this was your moment.
Yeah,
was,
right.
this was
the train is
another-
wrecking while you're on
Yeah,
it.
it's another pivotal moment.
What did you do? You just like grind.
I
through it?
just ground through it. Yeah, I had to tell my brain, I was like, breathe, like slow your heart
Don't throw
rate,
up.
slow your heart. Yeah, don't throw up. And I got through what I was supposed to present, but it was clear that like I was crazy nervous. So
Bro,
it
you're
didn't
a
go well.
tank, bro. You're a tank. To go through that and like that's embarrassing. A lot of people would. I'm out of here. Look, we'll finish it later. Well, to stop the presentation right here, I gotta poop. I gotta come up with some type of excuse of like,
Gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta do something. Act like I got a crazy phone
Any
call.
emergency will do.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything will do.
I would have told one of my friends to throw something up in the front. Anything, some distraction, so I get out of here. But you just sat there and just chugged through it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't see any alternative. I was like, either I get to the end of this thing, or like I'm gonna pass out or have a heart attack. Something's gonna happen.
I'm gonna end it one way or another. You're sweating.
Yeah, sweating. Like, so I finish it and go back to the office, and I think a couple days later, my boss had gotten wind of it, and he's like pulled me in the office and said, "Hey, we should probably talk about this, because like a lot of your job is gonna be speaking in front of groups." And I'm like, "Yeah, we should probably figure that out."
But it hadn't been until that day. Right?
So I would have to. The biggest group I think up until that point I really had to speak in front of was like a few people in a boardroom or something.
And that was okay.
Yeah, I was totally fine with that.
Okay.
But anytime it got over like 3 or 4 people, then it started to, like, anxiety would creep up.
Yeah.
It was more or less like, I'll get to this, but so had a conversation with the boss. He's like, "Hey, you got to figure this out." And he mentioned this organization called Toastmasters, which I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, you
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, it helps people public speak. So I found a local chapter, tracked it down, went to a meeting, joined it. I was in that group for like 1.5 to 2 years. Found out the crux of my issue and tackled it. It turns out like it was being prepared was like the biggest. Like if I didn't feel like I was prepared, then I would be like, "Well, what am I going to say?" Like, and then I would hit like a point, and then I would,
Yeah.
So
Toastmasters help you figure that out.
yeah.
Shout out to Toastmasters. There's local groups all over the place.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was one. I think this one was called the F&M chapter. I don't know if they're still around because
That's so neat.
They helped Tavon.
Yeah, they did.
And he,
Yeah, we
he
have
was
a friend
nervous
who-
too.
yeah. So they helped me figure out what I needed to do to feel comfortable enough to the point where I wouldn't freak out. So it was interesting because my boss knew I was doing all this, and I don't know if he tracked my progress, but like things gradually got better when I was speaking in front of like decent sized groups. And the real big change that he noticed was when we put together this whole like I shouldn't say we put it together, but he took a book called The Challenger Sale, and it was this style of selling where it's basically the track that you follow towards getting your customer to make a decision.
The Challenger sale.
Yeah, The Challenger Sale. It's a pretty good book. Like anybody in sales, I think should read it. Don't take it as gospel, but it's a good thing to help augment your approach. But so he read this and put together this whole like new approach for the bank, and the bank at the time was really into like this is great, this is awesome, like this works. So he and I built a presentation that basically followed the playbook for the Challenger Sale, but it was for what we were selling.
Yeah.
Apparently I had done a good job with presenting it to some of our local customers, and somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we want to have a couple of the salespeople present this to the executives when like we have our next meeting." Nice. And so he's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to go up to Pittsburgh. You have to present this in front of the executive team." And I was like, "Awesome."
Okay. To the big leagues.
Yeah. So
Big leagues.
taking everything that I not only had I already been familiar with the material because we'd been doing it, but taking everything I learned in Toastmasters and just grinding it. Like I practiced that slide deck for weeks leading up to that.
So you were presenting to high level management at this point.
Yeah, in a pretty large organization, so it was like pretty stressful. But
And how'd you do? Did you knock it out of the park?
I knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
I crushed it.
Awesome. So that's your comeback moment.
Yeah, I crushed it. And from that point on, I had very high, like my stock within that organization was very high. I had a
Because
great
you
reputation.
shined in front of everyone.
In front of the executive team. Not only that, my numbers were really good too. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Another pivotal moment in my career.
Yeah, I've heard it said that that if you want to get to the type of leadership roles that you're in now, You don't do that by just learning how to be a great leader. You learn it. You get to those spots by learning some skill, some trade, and perfecting that, which is what you did. You just sat in that role and honed yourself, and then ultimately you start shining in front of the people who care. Now you're on their radar. So what happened after that? Now you're on people's radar.
So I got a promotion not long after that. I think I was promoted to like vice president. I was an assistant vice president at the time. And yeah, I mean, look, at the banks, like everybody's a vice president of one shape or form. So
What bank are you at right now?
so I work for Mid-Penn Bank. I've been there for the last 3 years.
So during like when they promoted you to vice president, this is at Mid-Penn?
This is still at PNC.
This is still at PNC.
Yeah, so I was at PNC from November of 2006 until like May of 2021.
Okay.
So yeah, I was there for a long time.
Yeah, a really long time.
Yeah. So yeah, I got promoted. I think I got a larger portfolio. So I went from focusing on what we call commercial size clients, which is 95% of what you see in Lancaster County in central Pennsylvania, to middle market, large corporate, which is your Hershey companies of the world, publicly traded entities. Like,
Very big.
yeah, it was an awesome time. Learned a lot during that. Also polished my speaking skills because now I was speaking to actual like boardrooms full of people versus like a handful of people here and there. And then so I did that until like late 2016. And at that point, I got tapped on the shoulder by the guy that ran the commercial banking team here in central Pennsylvania, because I'd worked with him and his team for the last maybe 8 or 10 years. And he said, "Hey, do you ever think about becoming a commercial relationship manager?" I was like, "Well, yeah, but I always thought there was kind of like a partition, like I just didn't have the skill set to do that." And he's like, we can teach you credit. He's like, you've got the personality and the soft skills to be successful. So
Yeah.
I was like, and as bad as it pained me to leave my boss and mentor at that time, the guy that like basically gave me my start, that was really difficult. And as much as it pained me, I had to do the right thing for myself,
Right.
which was take this opportunity. So I did. I jumped into a commercial banker role. I hadn't touched credit or accounting since I went through training in 2009. This is like, almost 10 years later.
Dusting that off.
Yeah, so I had to dust that off, go back to figuring out how to analyze financial statements. So there was a definite learning curve there too. But I quickly found out that like I wasn't like BSing my way through it, but like people didn't necessarily care as much about that side of things as they did like the personal interaction.
There it is again.
Yeah.
You just gotta know enough to talk the talk. Other than that, it's all relationships.
So now I'm one that like I can only go so far, not being an expert in what I'm talking about. So I focused my goal. So it's funny because we would have these conversations with the credit folks. So in commercial banking, you typically have two sides of the house, the lending house. You have credit and you have what they call the line. So the line is more focused on sales and customer interaction and building relationships. Credit is like the line of defense to stop bad deals from coming into the bank, right? Because there are a lot of bankers out there that don't know like what they're looking at, like me originally. Like, hey, this deal stinks to high heaven, or this is a great deal.
But it's getting green lights up until
if it gets to credit, and they're like, no, absolutely not. We're not going to do this.
Okay.
So we would have these conversations with credit, and they would walk all over me because like I just didn't have the chops. And I was like,
you have to kind of advocate. You have to advocate to get your deal across.
If they have an objection, you have to be able to like if they identify a risk, you have to be able to mitigate it, find a mitigant inside the deal.
This is fire. That job sounds exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah. It is much more exciting on the inside than it looks like
right,
it is from the outside. So yeah, had these conversations with the credit folks, walking all over me, and one of them I was just so mad because I knew it was a good deal, but I couldn't articulate why. And so I said to my boss, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna get so good at credit that these credit people are gonna hate me. And so that's what I did. I went back and I just started studying my credit books and just learning everything all over again and being able to put it in practice. And eventually I got not so good at credit that they hated me, but I got much better at credit.
You spoke
and I could advocate for my customers and advocate for the deals that I thought had merit. And people start to, like, when you have that knowledge and ability, like, people start to trust you to make decisions too, right?
Yep.
So I was able to demonstrate, hey, I know what I'm doing. Like,
yeah, I'm not bringing you trash. I'm bringing you good stuff.
Yeah,
And here's why it's good.
Exactly. So yeah, that was
You just taught yourself that.
Again.
yeah. I get, I learn. So I'm big on learning from experience too. So like, for me, it's not always the books and the material, but it's like actually putting it into practice and
Right.
kind of like visualizing and seeing how, like with a puzzle, like I wouldn't be able to do a puzzle without it being able to touch it.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So
Right.
yeah, so that was an interesting time in my career, which took me up until about, the pandemic. So I was on a great trajectory, had a fantastic career going with a good organization that had treated me well and afforded me a lot of opportunities over the years. There were some things that I didn't necessarily see eye to eye with on the management side of things. That led me to become a little disenchanted with the franchise, so to speak, without going into too much detail. Decided it was time for me to take a look elsewhere.
Is that a hard decision?
It was, yeah, because I spent last 15 years of my life.
A huge chunk of time. It's more than most of us do anything.
Yeah, and
For 15 years.
so it was a tough decision. But I had contact with a guy at a different bank, and he reached out, say the right time. Because I had turned him down a couple times before that, but I took a look further into the opportunity and decided it was
the right move.
Yeah, it was the right move. And I always say, so I had a layover in between PNC and Mid-Penn. I won't mention the organization, but where I went was not a great fit culture-wise for me. I learned a lot while I was there. I worked with some really great people, but ultimately I couldn't see myself being there long term. So I stayed there for about 12 months, and then
still another year.
Yeah,
but is there anything, going back without mentioning it, is there anything that you could have done to identify that cultural mismatch before, or you just had to take it, see it from the inside? There was no way you could have grabbed, there's no way you could have identified that mismatch earlier.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think I had the time to be able to do that. Had I had the time and been able to do the research, I guess I probably could have eventually, like, if I asked enough people.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't, like, when you're looking to leave one job and go to the next, like, you're not
Right.
like asking, you're not publicizing it. So
Right.
but yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I don't look at it as wasted time at all. I looked at it as a learning experience because I was exposed to things there that had I not been exposed to, I would never be in the role that I'm in now.
Okay.
That's that positive outlook from your grandfather.
Yeah.
There it is.
He's always back there telling me to look at the bright side of things.
Right.
So then you made the move. An opportunity popped up at Mid-Penn.
Yeah. The lady that I report to now, her name's Heather. She's the chief lending officer of the bank. She's fantastic. She reached out to me, and we started a conversation. And it wasn't knowing that I made a mistake. I don't even call it a mistake because I stumbled a little bit in where I ended up for that 12 months. I was much more diligent in my approach to this new role.
Scouting
Right.
out.
Yeah.
So asking the right questions, talking to the right people,
Right.
and everything that I was getting back was positive. So, ended up pulling the trigger. I think I was in Hawaii actually for my anniversary with my wife,
Oh, fun.
and I had the opportunity to make the phone call and said, "Hey, yeah, when I get back from Hawaii, I'm coming over."
That's awesome.
So yeah,
It's been great. Now you're here.
yeah, it's been fantastic. It's the organization itself, the culture's phenomenal. The leadership is awesome. So we have the CEO of the bank. His name's Roy Retrieve. He joined the bank in 2009. It was a small $400 million. So the way you measure a bank's size is by its assets. Mm-hmm. So when I say $400 million in assets, it has $400 million in essentially loans. Right? Yep. So it was a small $400 million bank. He comes in, cleans up, and I'm oversimplifying all this, but comes in, cleans up the portfolio, gets the bank on a good trajectory, and here we are in 2025, and the bank is $6.5 billion in assets. So
that is a huge increase.
How much time?
2009 to now. So
that man was working.
Yeah,
doing something well.
Yeah,
probably has great relationships with people that help.
He does, yeah, he does. So you look at him, and he's got a tremendous amount of drive and ambition. He started from nothing, and he'll be the first person to tell you the story about how he came up, worked his tail off to get where he is today, and and he's a very smart man. He's he's actually a lawyer. He's got his
JD.
Yeah, no, I don't know what he has. He's legally a lawyer.
Yeah, he's barred.
Yeah, he doesn't practice anymore, but just go through all that.
Yep.
Yeah,
all school stuff.
So yeah, super smart guy, super sharp guy, very intuitive, and I think he's a great role model for pretty much everybody at the bank. It's
Is he your mentor? Is one of your mentors?
I'd say loosely, yes. So we're not. So we actually have at the bank we have a mentor-mentee program.
That's tough.
So I myself have three mentees that I work with, and I would say in an unofficial capacity, yes, he's a mentor to me. As is my boss. She's been fantastic, and there's other people at the bank too that I look to as mentors in an unofficial way.
Yeah.
Professionally, you still feel like you have opportunities for growth?
I do. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So you're still achieving, as Justin, as who you are. You're still achieving.
I like to think so. Yeah. I mean, so I'm continuing to learn every day. I'm the first person to admit that I don't know everything, and I think that goes a long way with my team. Maybe they tell you differently, but I tell them, look, if you're not learning, you're dying, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because you're just going to go in the opposite direction if you're not continuing to stimulate your mind and learn new things. Because your environment, the world, everything's constantly changing. There's no way you could possibly learn everything. So,
Justin, for folks who are listening, for younger people, for some of our students, what makes banking a good field for them to consider going into? Not how would they go about it, but what makes it worthwhile to consider? You've spent a career, almost completely a career in it. So
yeah, I'd say it's the reward for hard work, in my opinion. I mean, it's like any other, I think, field or career that if you put in the hard work, success will come. You've got to keep your nose clean too. You can't, take shortcuts. But also, I don't know, low barrier to entry, I guess. If you think about it, you could go get a job as a teller off the street, as long as you don't have money laundering or anything like that in your background.
Do you have to have a college degree to be a teller?
No.
You don't have to have a college degree to be a teller. Okay. No. So that's a good entry point into the bank.
Yeah, and I mean, look, somebody can get their education while they're working.
Jakai's working on that right now. He's in college and he's something else too, but he's working at PNC and he's in college right now and they're paying for some of his college.
Yeah. We have a similar program. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've partnered with Hack and Millersville. So I don't know the particulars of the program, but like if we have employees that want to get their associate's degree, the bank will actually help them do that with Hack. And then if they've decided that they did well enough with their GPA, they're still obviously employed with the bank, and they want to take it further and get their bachelor's, we've partnered with Millersville to make that happen. So, yeah,
It's quite the setup.
yeah, it's pretty great.
So you answered both the why and the how, because kids could go in and kind of explore being a teller. The challenge for a lot of our kids is that they haven't had a banking relationship. They might not trust the bank at all. That no one ever told them you should put their money in there. So, what would you say to people who are just coming in and not knowing anything or even distrusting the bank?
Look, I mean, I would say do some research. Like I realize that's not a great answer, but like you look, it's like anything in life. If it receives the wrong kind of attention, like you look at the media, and banks have gotten a really bad name because of things that happened in the past with the financial crisis or certain bad actors, and the industry gets painted with a broad brush, right? So, I would say if you're looking at a banking relationship, maybe look into the bank itself. I mean, most banks are publicly traded, so you can look at their financial statements. You can see pretty much everything you want to see. And then, reputation-wise, I mean, a community like Lancaster or even central Pennsylvania in general, you're going to hear things about whether it's a bank, manufacturer, like there's going to be word of mouth type things. So just ask around. People will be happy to share both negative and positive experiences, I'm sure.
It's good. It's good for our kids to hear that.
Yeah.
If you could go back and do this whole part of your life over again, just do it all the same because it was all learning, or would you change anything up or do something sooner or not do something?
No, I don't think I would, because it's interesting. I had this conversation with my dad over breakfast this past Saturday. I don't think I would, because there's a lot of things in my life that didn't go the way I would have liked them to go at the time, and even looking back, not fantastic. But I don't think I would be the man that I am today had I not experienced those things. It's like, I think a lot of who people become is what they do in the face of adversity, right? And how they persevere through that. Like, there are people that just crumble, and they let it take hold and they go the opposite direction. But there's people like you, Nate, your situation, you persevered through all of that, right, and became the man that you are today. Like, for me, I probably wouldn't change anything.
Yeah. It all adds up to you now.
Yeah, and I'm pretty happy with who I've become.
You're proud.
Yeah.
The best judgment of a man is not where he stands in comfort or something like that. Martin Luther King said it's where he stands in face adversity and discomfort. That's where you can judge the true character of somebody, when they're uncomfortable and they got to work through stuff.
Yeah.
And your life sounds really uncomfortable.
It was. I mean, yeah, it was. It's pretty comfortable now. But
you went through a lot of uncomfortable situations and figuring things out. Back against the wall, you didn't take no easy route out of it. You said, we're gonna go do this.
Yeah.
Just like when you were on a stage and you were choking and you almost had a heart attack. There was no, I'm gonna get off the stage and we're gonna revisit this. I'm gonna finish this. This is gonna be horrible, and then I'm gonna get 10 times better at this, and I'll do it in front of executives.
Yeah.
Create opportunities for yourself.
Yeah.
There's no easy way around it. You did the work. You put the work in. So you deserve where you're at now. So your story sounds great. I like your story. I was really interested. And it sounded great.
That's why I wanted Justin. That's why I wanted you to come down, because
different.
We don't have enough times. I'm thinking about our students. They see the bank and that's it.
Yeah.
It's a brick place that has people in there who know about money.
And even when you see the people in there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't take time to talk to them about their
right.
career, but now we can paint a picture of a through line. Mm-hmm. Here's someone who is working, selling cars and not liking it, and taking a jump over here because your grandmother mentioned banking. But someone watching this today, you've now mentioned banking. Now it's a thought in their head. And even within the bank, I've always been told that while work in banking is challenging and you have to put in a bunch of work, you also have a clear ladder to progress. And that's your story bears that out.
Yeah.
Like the ladder was clear for you what you needed to do. You had people who were helpful along the way. You had good mentors.
I did have some, very good mentors.
Yeah. You mentor these 3 individuals now, you said?
Yeah. So it's, so I have unofficial mentees that my employees that report up to me. And I never like to refer to them that way, by the way. Like I look at it as like a team. I say my teammates.
Team.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, unofficially I mentor them, but yeah, the 3 that I mentor right now, it's interesting. One guy's in Jersey. The other guy's in a completely different line of business within the bank, which is our insurance division. And then the other one, he's in retail banking. He's a branch manager or a financial center manager in I think our Dairy Street location up in Harrisburg. So I just got assigned to him, but I'm really looking forward to it because he's got a completely different background than the other guys that I worked with or I'm working with. So yeah.
So you gain something kind of a little bit from them too as well, then, eh? Since they got different backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, talking to them. Yeah. What's one thing like as far as like, so you're a mentor. Mentors are important, obviously, and especially at Benchmark Program, what we do. I still have mentors. What's like one thing like I don't know that you would say to anybody, kids, people that's working, like what's like one thing about a piece of advice that you would give them?
Persistence and perseverance have been the most valuable things to me in my career. Like I've won business because of it. I've gotten opportunities because of it. Like I've gotten major breaks in my career because of it. And like I keep looking back and I'm like, I don't think I would be in the seat that I'm in now without like persisting and persevering through, like not taking no for an answer,
Right.
So
yeah, I think that's a takeaway that listeners should understand is built through the story itself. So I mean, that to think that you would just continue to learn instead of give up is enough of a differentiator, and clearly it works. So Justin, thanks for your time today, buddy. It's really good to get to know you a little bit, hear your story, and I hope we'll have you come back down so we can kind of continue. We didn't do much banking tactical talk, and I think we could do some of that the next time you're here. Yeah, but absolutely. Thanks for at least giving us an intro to you as a leader so that now we can kind of explore the banking world with you next.